We're not going to recommend go get a $700 camera. You know why? Because first of all, your business, you need to lower your costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not increase your costs. So that's number one. Number two is when you buy an expensive camera like that, you're committing yourself to a lifetime of learning.
We're all about turning a crappy situation into something positive.
$250,000 of credit card
I
debt.
still remember the day when no one turned up.
Throw it in the garbage and start from scratch.
I could give myself a chance, so I started something.
I mean, I think that counts as from poop to gold.
Our sponsor for this episode is our 14-day video script challenge.
Yes, we are sponsoring our own show.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to From Poop to Gold. I'm your co-host, Benton Crane, and today I'm joined by Owen Video. Welcome to the show, Owen.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all ours. Thank you. Let's start with a quick introduction here. So Owen is an online video coach who specializes in helping businesses use video to get more customers.
Yes. Yeah. And that's really important because if you're out there, you want to become YouTube famous, you want to get 1 billion subscribers, paint your hair gold and do, green eyelashes. I'm not the guy to help you. There's lots of other resources for that. But if
So
you're
it's not for the influencers.
It's not for the influencers,
Okay.
right? If you're a business, you've got a great local business or you're a service-based company and you're thinking, man, we need more customers. We need to leverage the power of online marketing to build our influence online and to convert that influence into paying customers. Well, there's really nobody better than Owen Video and the Video Marketing School. That is exactly what we do. We teach businesses from A to Z, what you need to do, what you should say in your video, where you should post that video, how often you need to make that video. And you know what the best part is? When you need to not make video, when you need to just take a step back and convert into customers. So that's our specialty. That's our real sweet spot, and we're very, very good at it.
What's your ideal client look like?
The ideal client is a service-based business, and you're going to be in one of two different categories. So we've got like two different levels that we really serve. If you're the DIY business owner, right, not much of a budget, then you're going to want to get into the Video Marketing School, and you're going to want to take our classes, right? And at the Video Marketing School, what we do is we have 3 different levels. We teach you how to get started with video marketing. So it's like the camera you should buy, the microphone you should buy, it's setting up your workflows and your systems, right? Because we're not going to recommend go get a $700 camera. You know why? Because first of all, your business, you need to lower your costs, right? Not increase your costs. So that's number one. Number two is when you buy an expensive camera like that, you're committing yourself to a lifetime of learning how to use that camera, how to use the aperture, how to use the ISO and all these different things. And that's not a good use of your business hours.
Too technical.
It is too technical, right? So we show you how to get started with simple workflows that you can implement into your business without disrupting the daily operating procedures of your business. We also have the get results level. That's the second level. So now that you got your camera and your station all ready to go, now you want to start creating videos that are generating interest, where people are saying, I liked that. I would like to hear more. And we help you develop the funnel for converting that into a 15-minute call. I see a lot of business owners that they want to meet with everybody, right? Someone expressed interest. So it's like, let's meet, let's get on the phone. What happens is you end up spending a lot of time talking to unqualified people. And I think that a lot of like the local chamber types can relate to this. Is they'll spend an hour at a Starbucks, speaking with somebody who just says, I'll think about it. Or we spend 5 hours writing a custom proposal because your customer doesn't have any idea how much it's going to cost. So they say, yeah, give me A, give me B, give me C. You go back home and you write this big proposal and you say, honey, I can't come to scouts with the kids tonight. I'm not going to make it to the soccer game tonight. I got a big proposal. And your wife goes, that's amazing, honey. Congratulations. And then you deliver this big expensive proposal to your customer who says, I can't afford this. Yeah, I had no idea it was going to cost this much, right? So we teach the systems and the workflows that will actually convert into customers. And then we have level 3, which is the get better level, right? So now you've got customers and you want your videos to look a little bit better. You want to maybe use green screen or special effects or write comedy into your videos. And so those are the 3 different levels in the Video Marketing School for the do-it-yourself business owner. But there's also the business owner who has a little bit of a budget, maybe a staff, right? They're probably doing 3-4 million on the low end in revenue.
Yep.
For that person, we do a lot of done with you and done for you work where we just build the system and then you dump some ad money into it so that you generate customers right off the bat. So I spend a lot of my time I went to school for video. I've been fired 22 times. I don't know. Can we brag about that? I'm not sure if that's a braggable thing. I was not made for the job world. I've been in sales for a large portion of my life. And after I last my last job, I remember walking out with my box of stuff in my office plant, and I said, I will never again allow someone else to control my income. So I went back to school to learn video. And before I even graduated, really it was the day that they let me have access to the cameras. I took the school's cameras and I went to knock on doors. And this was actually, a lot of this was in Salt Lake City, Utah. But I was in Salt Lake. I was knocking on doors in the downtown district, and I said, hey, I got a camera with me. I'll make you a video right now for $20. And I know that sounds really cheap, but that was my loss leader.
Yeah.
So
that's how you start. That's how you build a portfolio.
That's exactly right. And I got names and emails. I mean, think about that. That's like a cost per lead of $20. Right? It's not bad at all. And that would obviously and naturally lend into, hey, can you build my Facebook for me? Can you help me with my website? Can you do another video for me? And we grew to 6 figures in our first year from knocking on doors, selling video for $20. Hustle. Yeah. I'm very proud of that.
That's so awesome. Okay, so we kind of understand what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But we want to understand the journey that you've been on to get here.
Yeah.
And specifically, I want to know if there's a point in your life where you've gone through something that, let's just say, it was your poop moment.
Yeah.
That it wasn't until later that it helped turn into a gold moment.
That it actually paid off.
Yep.
A lot of people, they look at me and they say, Owen, being as good looking as you are has probably been pretty rough on you. And I would say, yes, it's hard. Phone numbers being thrown at me.
That's tough.
I feel like Elvis, in the 70s, but that's actually not my moment, unfortunately. I'm a workaholic. And I grew up on a poor diet, but I learned how to work really hard, because if you don't work hard, you might be poor your whole life. And I took that mentality into my adult life. And in 2012, that erupted into cancer. And I didn't know what was happening. In fact, I remember walking through my hallway in my house and thinking, I'm losing weight. This looks great. This is fantastic. My mother-in-law, she looked at me and she said, something's wrong with you. You don't look healthy. And I said, nah, it's nonsense. 2 days later, I was, doubled over on my living room floor, just writhing in pain. My wife came home and found me. We went to the hospital and I was diagnosed with a 12-centimeter tumor in my chest.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I went into shock. And I remember thinking, I have worked my tail off to get here, right? I have worked so hard to get to this place where I'm, not poor anymore, and it's all going to be taken away. Like, there's no way I can work and do this and continue this lifestyle, right? That was providing for my family. So I was sitting in the hospital that night and I was really ready to give up. And that's when it hit me. I could use this horrible experience to impact and influence lives in a way that I'd never really could with video. I mean, I make you a video for your plumbing company, right? Or help you to make a video. That's great. You'll make some sales, but it's not really life-changing. It's not really inspirational.
Okay.
But then I thought about, what about this cancer patient? I'm imagining myself, I've had a beard since I was 23, full head of hair at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm imagining myself as a chemo patient, sort of holding a dialysis thing in my hand and still uploading videos to YouTube and showing people that if I can do it sick, you can do it with whatever is going on in your life. And we came up with the hashtag #LifeWins. So I got out my mobile device. I did a Facebook Live and I said, guys, I was going to throw in the towel, but instead I've decided to push forward in a major way. And for that year that I was going through chemotherapy, we ran a campaign called Life Wins, where I continued to build my business, but I pulled out of the manual labor side of it and began to coach what I knew how to do. So I would no longer come to your business and shoot video. I could not do that anymore.
Yep.
But what I could do is I could create video that shows you exactly what you need to do. I could do coaching calls, and we transformed our business, and we doubled the size of our business that year. We went from 105 in revenue to something like 215
That's
over
phenomenal.
over the course of having cancer.
While you're right in the middle of recovering.
Right in the middle of recovering. And I'm not a quiet person by any means. You know, the librarians have always been like, shh, you know what? So I'm in this chemotherapy room, and it's a lot like a lot of lazy boys in a room, and they're kind of stacked up, and they're, you know, and there's a lot of older folks in there that are receiving chemotherapy, and they bring out a little machine and they strap you in. Well, there was a little room in the back, and they had one chair in there. And I just asked them, I said, can I just go sit in there in that room? And they said, sure, go sit in that room. So that room became my office. And when I received my chemotherapy, which for those of you that don't know, I mean, you receive chemotherapy for hours a day.
Brutal.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting stuff pumped into you, the worst chemicals on earth, for 4, 5, 6 hours.
Oh.
Right? So what I would do is I would go in there, I'd put up my laptop, and I would actually do group coaching for business owners and marketers for 4 hours on Monday while I was receiving chemotherapy. And I began to build a coaching business that way, and we thrived.
That is just amazing. Like, how did you have the energy?
You know, here, I timed it all. Okay, so I'm a big believer in energy management. And I believe this is the big problem with many business owner fathers, families today, right? Is like we put all of our energy into our companies. And then when it's time to go to soccer practice with the kids, because we want to be good dads and good husbands,
we're drained.
You have the time, but you don't have the energy anymore. And so you're like, yeah, it was a good one, kid. Like, right, you know, you're falling asleep at scouts and whatnot, you know, and you're not really being the dad you wanted to be. So I got really...
Guilty.
Right? Okay. So we got good at energy management. So I knew that when I got my adriamycin is the name of the drug that I got. And I knew that I wouldn't feel the effects of that till about 3 p.m. So I knew that I could get a lot of business done until about 3 p.m. And then 3 p.m. on Monday, I wouldn't feel normal again for probably, 2 weeks after that, right? Because you had to go in every day. So I got as much work done, and I sort of brag, in that 4-hour window, I got more work done than most people get done in a whole week. And we really mastered that system. Then while I was at home, sort of recuperating, and for those of you that have been through that, or you've seen someone go through that, you're just kind of in this blah place. So I would have like Gatorade and watermelon. That's all I could eat. And so I'm eating watermelon out of a bowl. I'd like cut it in half and you just eat it, right? And drinking Gatorade. And I sat and I watched hours and hours of online videos. I watched everything ever made by the Harmon brothers. I watched a ton of videos done by Chamber Media, who was just at this time getting started. He was just getting started in the game. But I also watched Hulu. And I was actually geeking out on a show called Frasier, right? I thought it was the funniest show in the world. I was just bawling at this show, Frasier. But the commercials would come on. And so I began to look for these patterns and these rhythms. Then I thought, how can we recreate, like if Mazda, right? Mazda didn't just like invent a commercial in their mind. They had a system, they had a format. I tried to find that format. And then I looked at how could we apply this, multi-billion-dollar car industry commercial to the local fumigator, the local plumber. And that's when we developed the great video formula, GREAT, right? Grab attention, relate to the problem, explain your solution, provide actual proof, and then tell them what to do, your call to action. So we developed the great video formula from there, and that's what we began to move and market to our customers. And that's when we started to see this really explosive growth. Not only in revenue, we grew the revenue for sure, but not as dramatically as doubling it. Like there's no exciting story to tell there. What was exciting about the revenue is it became recurring revenue. It became this monthly revenue that I didn't have to work as hard for. So once we signed a customer up to the program, right, that billing would go through every single month, right? And that was a business that sustained us and paid for our cancer treatment. We came out of cancer with zero debt, and that was a huge blessing to our family.
That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, okay, so you've told us about an extreme trial that you went through with this situation of cancer. Now, talk to us about how it shaped your future and how it impacted you to become what you are today.
Yeah, first of all, human potential. Okay, we are capable of so much more than we know we're capable of. I am not as physically capable as I used to be, right? I can't run as fast. And let me tell you something. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I stood up too fast again, right? Like if I stand up too fast, blackness. Like I just have to really, and I'm a young guy. So it's like I'm not as healthy physically as I used to be because the chemotherapy really destroyed my body. But mentally, I'm stronger than I've ever been. And we moved from a place in terms of what we thought was possible for our lives, right? My wife and I both grew up poor in ghetto areas. I grew up in the streets of Long Beach, California, not too far away from Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and where all that happened. We were a very scared, multi-ethnic family. My mom's white, my dad's Mexican. We never really fit in anywhere. And so we were sort of put into this mold, right? I remember my mom telling me, who was verbally abusive, prescription drug addict, told me that I would never be anything but a trash man. And at the time, that was really offensive.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
It's rough, right? And you
Especially
grow up,
coming from your mom.
your mother, the person who was supposed to be cuddling you and encouraging you. So I never thought that I would achieve much in my life. And what I learned through this cancer experience is that I could achieve whatever it is that I wanted to achieve if I had the discipline to work towards that thing. And so we got really big into energy management and time management. You know what happened? Our business began to sort of shift, right? We're not just teaching video marketing anymore. Now we're teaching like life skills. We're teaching how to manage your time more effectively. We're teaching things like how to schedule 15-minute discovery calls with your clients instead of spending an hour at Starbucks. And we saw huge growth in our lives. For example, we bought a house, right? Then we sold the house at the peak of the market. We reinvested that money. And now all of a sudden we live in a house bigger than anything that we grew up in. We drive a luxury SUV. And I'm not trying to impress anyone, but I'm trying to impress upon you that by managing our time and learning what we could achieve, it changed the way we thought, changed our worldview, essentially. And now we're a family that has time for each other. My wife and I are madly in love. We make time for each other. Our kids, I see my kids more in a day than my dad ever saw me in a week, because we make time for them, because we believe that there's 24 hours in a day. And if Steve Jobs can do X, then we can do X. So it really changed my thinking and enabled me to achieve much more in my life.
How much of that perspective change do you feel like is driven by your horrible experience with cancer?
90%. I was a very ambitious mess before I got cancer. No real discipline, no real training, and that's what led to cancer. I couldn't control my workaholism. I didn't even know I was a workaholic. I thought it was a good thing. I thought you were supposed to do this. I couldn't control my eating habits. Although I was never overweight, I was eating processed foods, high sugar foods, and cancer feeds on sugar. So I was basically stirring tumor food in my body. Right. And creating a perfect storm for cancer to erupt. Now that I know those things, I'm outside of those things. Going through that experience showed me a new way to live my life, a new way to approach problems, right? I call it the judo effect, right? In judo, it's a martial art. You're really learning how to throw and how to use your opponent's weight against himself. And that's the way that we teach our kids to deal with stress and trouble in life, right? When a customer cancels, how do we turn that into a win? So I look at that now as a real challenge. All right, well, Jim just threw in a cancellation form. And it's like, all right, let's see if we can re-sign him and upsell him, right? Through this situation. And it's totally changed the way that we look at our lives. We're no longer looking at what happens to us, but how we can impact what happens to us.
Incredible backstory. Let's shift gears just a little bit, Owen. I want you to talk to us about your creative process. Where and when do your ideas flow best?
Oh my gosh. There's a couple different environments that I do really well in. The first is around people. So you remember there's a movie called Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson tells Bruce Willis, go be with the people. And then Bruce Willis will kind of he touches someone, he gets his vision. I love to go to Starbucks and I love to watch people. And as I'm watching people, I'm sort of coming up with these jokes or I'm coming up with these funny scenarios in my mind. And I turn that into jokes that I can tell in the beginning of our live streams. I host a live stream show, 2 different shows once a week for a couple of clients. And it's very important to me that we pull in the audience's attention. I write those best when I'm around people and I'm watching, like a mom deal with her kids, or I'll see a guy sort of trying to hit on a girl or trying to be, kind of romantic in front of a girl. And those things really inspire in me the creative process. I think another sort of interesting is in my closet. And this has been true since I was a kid, is when I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I will go into my closet, I will sit on the floor in total darkness, and I will just decompress. And I get into my mind. And I don't feel this is unhealthy in any way, right? I know what I'm doing. I'm not like, oh, my life,
It's more meditative.
It is more meditative. Yeah, absolutely. And so I go in there and I shut down and I shut my eyes and I allow my mind to just go. No control, free thought. And when I come out of that, I sort of, and again, I'm not like otherworldly, I'm not channeling any spirits or anything like that. I'm just letting my mind release the ideas that my day-to-day tasks are suppressing, right? And let those come out. Typically, I'll come out of that and then just write and like, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea. And those are the ideas that I take to the companies I'm pitching, and I say, let's do this for your company and let's do that for your company.
Isn't it amazing how these things can be brewing down there in your subconscious mind?
Yeah.
But they don't get to come out and come to the surface until you give your mind that space and that freedom.
So important.
To let them rise to the top. So, well, Owen, I want to be super sensitive of your time. I know you're a very busy man. And so before we wrap up, I want to ask, how can our listeners stay in touch with you? How can our listeners follow you?
Yeah, you can check out what we're doing at thevideomarketingschool.com. And you can take a look at the training that we've put together over the last couple of years. Everything from how to set up a video creation station at your home office or at your cubicle at work so that you can make videos all the time, all the way up to how to grow on YouTube. And there's a lot of great training there. But if you want to follow me, go to my Instagram, Owen Video, or follow us on YouTube, Owen Video. We teach a lot of what we're talking about here today, but we also do it in sort of a fun, maybe slightly irreverent, family edgy way, right? We always believe that your kids might be watching, so we want to keep it appropriate, but we also deal with real topics like mental health, depression, and how to persevere through those things to continue to grow your business, not so that you become super rich and wealthy, which we hope for everyone, but so that you can focus on the things that matter most to you. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your art hobby.
Yep.
But we want to see you thrive in the things that you really enjoy to do.
Love it. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. For our listeners, if you haven't already checked out the book From Poop to Gold, it's a great look into how we've built our creative culture at Harmon Brothers.
Yeah.
And make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, and we will see you on the next one. As entrepreneurs and small businesses, we all kind of reach that point where we know we've created something awesome and we want to share it with the world, right? And it's that very next step that can oftentimes be really intimidating or really scary, or you just don't know where to go next, right? And the beautiful thing about this 14-day script challenge is you get your hand held from, okay, you have this cool product, now let's go research and find the exact way to present it and message it to the world in a way that resonates and gets people excited and they're ready to swipe their credit card and purchase. And in the 14-day script challenge, you get the opportunity to go through that step by step with our writers who have done it dozens and dozens of times.
You actually watch us go through each of the steps ourselves and create it with a real client, a real product, and it's a real campaign that's out there that's been very successful.
That's right. And the feedback that we've had on this thing has just been phenomenal. I mean, we get comment after comment and emails flowing in from people all over the world who have just raved about the impact that this has had on their business.
People tell us over and over again, it is just a huge value punch for the investment for this 14-day script challenge, and really gave them the tool set they needed to walk through it and make it happen.
And we've had dozens of students who have successfully taken the challenge, written their script, launched their ad campaigns, and driven success for their business. It's pretty amazing.
For more information, go to hbros.co/script. That's hbros.co/script.